Saul over loudly crying face Janelle arrested. Janelle stole $1 million.Big betrayal.Kody police arrest Janelle. Hello friends, I am Elena. Welcome to my channel. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Saul over. What started as whispers has now exploded into one of the biggest scandals ever to hit the sister wives world. Fans are still in shock, jaws dropping everywhere, as reports confirm that Janelle Brown has been arrested. Yes, you heard that right, arrested. The news broke late last night when police confirmed that Janelle was taken into custody after shocking allegations surfaced about her involvement in a missing $1 million. What's worse, this isn't just a minor financial mishap or simple family dispute. This is being called a betrayal of trust so big that even Kody, who has been at odds with Janelle for years, reportedly had a role in the shocking turn of events. For years, viewers have watched Janelle as the practical, steady wife. She was the one who often balanced the drama within the plural marriage, the one who worked hard, focused on stability, and rarely chased the spotlight. Out of all the wives, Janelle always came across as the one most grounded, the one who valued independence yet still tried to hold the family together. Which is why these accusations feel so unbelievable. Could it really be true? Could Janelle Brown, the calm and rational wife, have been involved in stealing $1 million? According to insiders close to the family, the tension had been brewing for months. Reports suggest that disagreements over money had escalated behind closed doors. After the family split apart, finances became messier than ever. Who owned what, who paid for what, and how money from appearances, businesses, and the show was divided. All of it became a battlefield. And at the center of it all was an amount no one could explain, a missing $1 million. When auditors allegedly raised red flags, suspicions pointed in many directions. But it was Janelle who ended up under the harsh spotlight. Police reportedly began their investigation quietly, following trails of bank transfers and business accounts linked to various family ventures. What they claimed to have discovered shocked even them. Funds allegedly funneled through accounts tied to Janelle. Authorities say the evidence was enough to issue a warrant, and that's when the unimaginable happened. Kody himself, who has been feuding with Janelle since their split, was reportedly present when officers arrived. Witnesses described the scene as tense, heartbreaking, and dramatic. Some even claim that Kody cooperated fully with the investigation, providing information that led to Janelle's arrest. Whether that's true or not, it paints a picture of ultimate betrayal, not just from Janelle to the family but from Kody to Janelle as well. Fans online are divided. Some refuse to believe that Janelle would ever be capable of something so extreme. They argue that she has always been one of the most trustworthy figures in the family, someone who never sought drama or shady dealings. Others, however, think the mounting pressure, financial struggles, and years of conflict with Kody might have pushed her into desperate decisions. After all, independence costs money, and Janelle had been determined to carve out a life on her own separate from Kody's control. Could she have crossed a line she never thought she would? The betrayal angle cannot be ignored. Family members are said to be reeling, especially Christine, who had remained close to Janelle after leaving Kody. The two had formed what many fans saw as a genuine, lasting friendship beyond the cameras. For Christine, hearing that her closest ally is now facing such allegations must be devastating. Meanwhile, Mary and Robin are keeping their distance, with some insiders claiming that Robin feels vindicated, pointing out that she always suspected financial irresponsibility from the other wives. Whether that's fair or not, the rift between the women has only deepened. And then there's Kody. His reaction is what has everyone talking. Once upon a time, Janelle was one of the wives who stood by him the longest. She endured the drama, defended him when others walked away, and tried to make the plural family work. But in the past few years, things unraveled. Their arguments became explosive, their communication broke down, and Janelle eventually separated herself from Kody's orbit. Now, with her facing legal trouble, people are asking, did Kody use this as a chance to finally get back at her? Some say his cooperation with police is proof of that. Others say he was simply trying to do the right thing no matter how painful it was. The headlines scream betrayal. The arrest is dominating fan discussions across social media, with hashtags like #JusticeForJanelle and #BrownFamilyScandal trending. Some are rallying behind Janelle, convinced this is a setup. They point fingers at Kody, suggesting he manipulated the situation or exaggerated her role in order to protect himself. After all, money matters in the Brown family have never been transparent. On the other side, critics are calling Janelle out, saying that the image she presented on television was just that, an image. They argue that maybe she was never as innocent as she seemed, and the missing $1 million is proof that secrets always come to light. The betrayal runs even deeper when you consider the emotional toll. For years, the Brown family has been torn apart, each wife going her own way yet still linked by their shared history. Children, caught in the middle of public feuds, now have to grapple with this latest scandal. To see their mother or stepmother in headlines for theft and arrest is unimaginable. For them, it's not about TV ratings or fan theories, it's about family trust shattered in the most public way possible. The legal process will now take center stage. Janelle is expected to face charges that could carry serious consequences. If found guilty, she could be looking at fines, restitution, or even time behind bars. But beyond the legal system, the court of public opinion is already weighing in. Every past interview, every old episode, every financial decision Janelle ever made is being re-examined under a harsh new lens. Was there ever a clue? Did she ever drop hints that money was an issue? Fans are combing through the archives, searching for signs they may have missed. What makes this story so tragic is the fall from grace. Janelle was often seen as the voice of reason, the one wife who didn't get caught up in emotional battles as much as the others. She had her own identity, her own career focus, and her own determination to build a stable future. Now, all of that is overshadowed by allegations of theft and betrayal. Whether she is guilty or innocent, the stain of this scandal may never fully fade. Trust is broken, the family is fractured, and the fans are left in disbelief. As of now, Janelle remains at the center of this storm, her future uncertain. Will she clear her name? Will the truth reveal a bigger story that no one saw coming? Or is this truly the end of Janelle's carefully built reputation? One thing is certain, it's all over. The illusion of stability, the image of trustworthiness, the bond between Janelle and Kody, all of it has crumbled. The arrest marks a turning point not just in Janelle's life, but in the entire Brown family legacy. From reality TV stars to headlines about million-dollar scandals, the downfall is as shocking as it is heartbreaking. Fans can't stop watching, but at the same time they can't believe it's real. Betrayal, money, and family torn apart. This is the drama no one ever saw coming, and it may very well be the final chapter in the story of Janelle and Kody Brown. The Sister Wives world has been buzzing yet again after Janelle Brown decided to share her unfiltered perspective on one of the most defining chapters in the family's history, the early courtship of Kody Brown and his fourth wife, Robyn Brown. Over the years, fans of the TLC reality show have pieced together fragments of the story, but Janelle's recent words gave a raw and strikingly honest account that paints a very different picture than the one many viewers once believed. For Janelle, the issue wasn't simply that Kody brought another woman into the marriage. It was about the way it was done, the disregard for the family's agreed-upon values, and the imbalance it created right from the beginning. In her words, the courtship wasn't appropriate, and she didn't shy away from explaining why. Janelle Brown has always been known as the pragmatic, level-headed wife, the one who often tried to keep peace when drama threatened to erupt between the sister wives. But when it came to Kody's whirlwind romance with Robyn, she admits now that there were red flags everywhere. According to her, the situation unfolded in a way that broke many of the unspoken rules and expectations within their plural family. While plural marriage inherently involves complexities, Janelle stresses that it has to be managed with fairness, honesty, and above all, respect for all wives involved. What she saw during that time, however, was something very different, an obsession that blindsided Kody and left the rest of the family in shock. The beginning of Kody and Robyn's relationship was portrayed on the show as Kody, already married to Mary, Janelle, and Christine, seemed to light up with renewed energy when he met Robyn. Cameras captured their long talks, flirtatious smiles, and eventually their courtship that quickly escalated into deep emotional territory. For viewers, it looked like an exciting chapter. For Janelle, it was a breach of boundaries. She recalls how the courtship unfolded at a speed none of the other wives expected. Rather than carefully including the rest of the family in the decision-making process, Kody dove headfirst into pursuing Robin, often leaving the other wives feeling like they were sidelined. One of Janelle's main points of criticism is that Kody and Robin's relationship did not reflect the balance that plural marriage requires. She has said that during those early months, Kody appeared consumed with Robin, emotionally unavailable to his other wives, and sometimes even dismissive of their feelings. What stood out most to her was the secrecy and exclusivity that seemed to define the relationship. Normally, in their faith and in their understanding of plural marriage, a husband's courtship with a potential new wife should be done with transparency and sensitivity. But with Kody and Robin, Janelle believes that line was crossed multiple times. Adding to the tension, Janelle recalls that Robin's presence almost immediately shifted the dynamic in the family. Instead of being integrated gradually, Robin became a central focus for Kody. He drove long distances to visit her. He spent extended time away from his established wives, and the balance of attention became skewed. Janelle explains that this wasn't simply about jealousy, it was about the foundation of trust being shaken. Each wife had entered the marriage under the belief that Kody would treat them equally, and while equality in plural marriage is never easy, there had been at least a framework of fairness before Robin. In Janelle's eyes, that framework collapsed as Kody poured energy into one relationship while leaving the others struggling to understand their place. Another point Janelle raised was the physical nature of the courtship. While it's expected that affection will grow between a husband and a potential wife, there are supposed to be boundaries until marriage. Janelle claims that those boundaries blurred quickly between Kody and Robin, with public displays of affection and closeness that crossed into territory considered disrespectful to the other wives. It wasn't only the fact of their bond, it was the visibility of it, the way it seemed flaunted at times. For Janelle, this was one of the clearest reasons why she now says the relationship was not appropriate. The aftermath of that courtship still echoes today. Janelle points out that the imbalance created in those early days never truly went away. Robin became not only Kody's wife but eventually his closest confidant and partner in decision-making. Over the years, viewers saw how Robin seemed to hold a different place in Kody's heart, and Janelle believes this is directly tied to the way their relationship began. The family never recovered from the way it started, she admits, noting that the favoritism and inequality that developed stemmed from the earliest moments of Kody's pursuit. For many fans, Janelle's honesty is refreshing but also heartbreaking. Looking back, the show often painted Robin as a symbol of new beginnings, but Janelle's account suggests that she was instead the beginning of a divide that would eventually fracture the family. While Kody insisted that his love for Robin didn't diminish his commitment to the other wives, Janelle argues that actions spoke louder than words. His emotional energy, his time, and eventually his loyalty were redirected, leaving Janelle, Christine, and Mary to feel like secondary figures in a relationship they once thought was shared equally. Interestingly, Janelle doesn't frame her criticism purely as an attack on Robin. She acknowledges that Robin entered the family with her own expectations and may have been swept up in Kody's intensity. But for Janelle, the responsibility lies with Kody as the husband and leader of the family. He, more than anyone else, should have upheld the principles they had all agreed to. By failing to do so, he set in motion years of tension, hurt feelings, and eventually the collapse of the plural marriage structure. Fans of Sister Wives know how the story has played out in recent years. Christine has left the marriage, Janelle herself has distanced from Kody, and Mary has acknowledged her own deep fractures with him. Robin remains Kody's primary partner, and the once large and united family has been reduced to fragments. Janelle's recent comments shed light on why this happened and suggest that the seeds of division were planted much earlier than many realized. Her statement also sparks broader questions about the ethics of plural marriage and the importance of boundaries in relationships. Even within unconventional family structures, fairness and respect are crucial. For Janelle, those principles were abandoned during the courtship of Robin, and the consequences have lasted more than a decade. She sums it up simply: "It wasn't appropriate." Those 4 words carry with them years of pain, disillusionment, and a sobering reflection on what went wrong. As fans continue to analyze her words, one thing is clear: Janelle's willingness to speak her truth adds a new dimension to the story of sister wives. It highlights not just the drama of a reality show but the very real struggles of individuals who tried to make a plural marriage work. In her telling, the romance that once looked magical was actually a turning point, a moment when the balance tipped and the family would never be the same again. Janelle Brown, one of the central figures from TLC's long-running reality series Sister Wives, has opened up in a way that has stunned both fans and followers of the show. Her latest confession about her marriage to Kody Brown has reignited debates around their complicated family dynamics, the struggles of polygamy, and the choices she has made over the years. In her own words, Janelle admitted that her relationship with Kody was not what many assumed it to be, and her shocking revelation sheds light on years of tension, silence, and quiet endurance that may have gone unnoticed by the audience. For years, Sister Wives presented the Brown family as a plural marriage trying to navigate life under the scrutiny of cameras while maintaining faith, unity, and love. Yet, as time passed, cracks began to show in nearly every corner of the household. While Christine Brown was the first to make headlines with her decision to walk away from Kody, followed by Mary's estrangement, it was Janelle who often appeared to be the steady and pragmatic one. Fans believed she was the wife who could weather the storms, maintain peace, and focus on practical aspects of life rather than emotional entanglements. However, Janelle's confession reveals a different truth. She admitted that for years she struggled with the lack of emotional connection in her marriage to Kody. She confessed that what kept her in the relationship was not romance, passion, or even compatibility but rather convenience, family stability, and a commitment to raising her children. "It wasn't always about love," Janelle admitted, explaining that her marriage to Kody was functional at times but never truly fulfilling on an intimate or emotional level. This statement shook fans who had admired Janelle's calm approach. Many assumed she was simply a private person who did not wear her emotions openly on camera. Now it becomes clear that her distance was not just a matter of personality, it was a reflection of how disconnected she often felt in her relationship. She explained that while she respected Kody as the father of her children and valued the family they built, she frequently felt unseen and unheard in the marriage. Her confession did not come lightly. Janelle revealed that she had carried these feelings for years, rarely voicing them out of loyalty and a sense of duty to the family structure. But with time, and with her children growing older and more independent, she realized she could no longer hide behind the facade of a marriage that did not bring her happiness. She admitted that she stayed because she wanted stability for her kids, because she believed in honoring commitments, and because walking away from a plural marriage was far more complicated than people on the outside may realize. Fans of the show will recall moments where Janelle appeared detached, focusing instead on her career, finances, and raising her children. Her independence was often framed as her unique personality trait, but she has now confessed that this independence was also a survival mechanism. When the emotional needs in her marriage went unmet, she threw herself into other aspects of life to fill the void. "I had to be strong for myself," she admitted, noting that she learned to operate in her own world because she could not rely on her husband for emotional support. The confession has not only sparked sympathy but also admiration from many viewers. Fans have flooded social media praising Janelle for her honesty and courage. Many women have related to her words, admitting that they too stayed in relationships out of duty, habit, or for the sake of their children, even when their hearts were unfulfilled. Her raw admission has opened an important dialogue about the silent struggles many people endure behind closed doors, particularly within religious or cultural frameworks that discourage leaving marriages. Janelle also addressed her relationship with Robyn Brown, Kody's fourth wife, in her confession. She acknowledged that Robyn's entrance into the family shifted dynamics in a way that made her already fragile connection with Kody even weaker. While she stopped short of blaming Robyn entirely, Janelle admitted that Kody's attention and affection seemed to flow in one direction, leaving her and the other wives feeling increasingly sidelined. "I could see where his heart was," she said, "and it wasn't with me." This admission has reopened old wounds among viewers who have long debated whether Kody showed favoritism toward Robyn. Janelle's honesty about feeling secondary in her marriage has confirmed what many fans suspected. The painful reality of her words is that she recognized the imbalance but chose, for years, to endure it silently. Now she is speaking out, reclaiming her truth, and showing that even the quietest voices in a relationship can hold the deepest pain point. One of the most aspects of Janelle's confession is her reflection on self-worth. She revealed that she often questioned whether she deserved more from her marriage, whether she was asking for too much, or whether her expectations were unrealistic in the context of polygamy. Over time, however, she came to understand that desiring love, respect, and attention was not unreasonable, it was essential. "I finally realized I couldn't keep sacrificing myself," she said. "I deserve more than just a partnership of convenience." Her words resonate powerfully, particularly for women who may find themselves in similar situations. Janelle's confession underscores that it is never too late to reevaluate one's happiness, never too late to seek change, and never too late to acknowledge when a relationship no longer serves one's well-being. As for her future, Janelle has not laid out a detailed plan but emphasized that she is prioritizing her independence, her children, and her personal happiness. While she has not definitively declared herself separated in the way Christine did, her confession makes it clear that her emotional departure from the marriage has already taken place. She admitted that she has felt freer and lighter since beginning to speak her truth, and she hopes her story can inspire others to evaluate their own relationships with honesty. The reaction from Kody remains uncertain. He has often defended his position, blaming the breakdowns in his marriages on disloyalty, lack of commitment, or shifting family structures. Whether he will acknowledge Janelle's confession remains to be seen, but fans are eager to watch how this revelation will shape the future of the family and the show. In the end, Janelle's confession is more than TV drama. It is a powerful reminder of the complexity of human relationships. Her courage to admit that her marriage was not built on the love she desired sheds light on the resilience required to endure, the courage required to walk away, and the strength required to finally speak the truth. For fans, her words are shocking, but for Janelle, they are liberating. After years of silence, she has finally allowed herself to be vulnerable, to be honest, and to put herself first. And in doing so, Janelle Brown has not only changed the narrative of her own story but has also given countless others the permission to their own lives and relationships with a new perspective. The world of sister wives has been rocked by heartbreak, and Janelle Brown is finally opening up about the most painful chapter of her life. In a candid and emotional account, Janelle is detailing the final hours of her beloved son Garrison, who tragically passed away far too soon. The reality star, known for her strength and quiet resilience, has chosen to speak about what happened not just as a mother, but also as a way to honor her son's memory and shed light on the struggles he faced in silence. Janelle begins by describing the weight of the day, the kind of day a mother never forgets. She remembers the atmosphere in her home, the unease she felt even before she received the news. Garrison had been distant in the weeks prior, something she noticed but never imagined would lead to this devastating outcome. In recounting his final hours, Janelle says she could sense he was carrying an invisible burden. He was quiet, withdrawn, and while he had moments of laughter with friends and family, there was an underlying sadness that worried her. She recalls their last conversation, simple and ordinary on the surface, yet now it feels monumental. They spoke about little things, errands, the dogs, plans for the next few days. Janelle says she wishes she had looked deeper, asked more questions, and pressed harder to understand what was happening inside his heart. But like many mothers, she trusted that her son would find his way through, that he would reach out if he truly needed her. The guilt she now carries is heavy, though she emphasizes that she knows Garrison would never want her to blame herself. As she tells it, the final hours were filled with signs she didn't recognize until afterward. He had sent a few messages to friends, checked in with people, and even shared a moment of laughter that seemed so normal. Janelle emphasizes how deceptive appearances can be when someone is struggling internally. Garrison was loved by many and surrounded by people who cared, yet he felt an isolation no one could see. When the call came that something had happened, Janelle describes it as a moment where time stopped. She rushed to learn the details, clinging to hope that it was all a mistake. But as reality set in, she realized her life would never be the same. The finality of losing a child is something she struggles to articulate. Her voice trembles as she admits that no parent should ever have to bury their child, and yet here she was, facing her worst nightmare. In sharing his last hours, Janelle wants people to understand the importance of mental health and checking in with loved ones. She talks about how Garrison was the kind of person who made others smile, who carried so much weight on his shoulders quietly, and who never wanted to be a burden. She believes that in his final moments, he was overwhelmed by pain he couldn't put into words. Tragedy, she says, is that if he had been able to hold on just a little longer, if he had been able to open up just a little more, the outcome might have been different. She also reflects on the unique challenges her family was facing at the time. With so much tension between herself, Kody, and the other wives, Garrison often felt caught in the middle. He wanted unity but was instead forced to watch the family fracture. Janelle admits that this environment may have added to his stress. He was proud, independent, and determined, but he also carried emotional scars from the family's struggles. Janelle details the hours after his passing with raw honesty. She remembers holding his belongings, the silence in the house, and the way her heart physically ached. She describes it as a pain that radiates through every part of her being, a wound that will never fully heal. Friends, family, and fans reached out with messages of support, but nothing could fill the void left behind. For her, the hardest part was realizing that all the future milestones she had dreamed of for her son, the career achievements, the possibility of marriage, the chance to see him build a life, were gone in an instant. She also shares how his siblings reacted, each of them devastated in their own way. Gabriel, especially close to Garrison, struggled with the reality of losing his brother. The siblings leaned on one another, creating a circle of support as they navigated grief together. Janelle says that in those moments she realized how fragile life truly is and how important it is to cherish every single moment with the people you love. As she recounts the final hours, Janelle acknowledges that speaking publicly about such intimate pain is not easy. Yet, she feels a responsibility to honor Garrison's story. She wants people to know who he was: funny, brave, compassionate, and fiercely loyal. She doesn't want his story to be defined only by his death, but by the light he brought to those around him. In a heartfelt reflection, Janelle says she hopes his story encourages other families to talk openly about mental health. She emphasizes that silence can be deadly, and that no one should feel ashamed of asking for help. If sharing the details of her son's last hours can save even one life, then she believes Garrison's memory will continue to make a difference. Toward the end of her account, Janelle admits that every day since his passing has been a struggle. There are moments when the grief is so heavy that she can barely breathe, and there are moments when she finds comfort in small reminders of him: a song he loved, a photograph, the wag of his dog's tails. She clings to those memories as a way of keeping him close. She closes her reflection by saying that Garrison's final hours, though filled with sorrow, are also a reminder of how deeply he was loved. She refuses to let his life be overshadowed by the circumstances of his death. Instead, she carries him forward in her heart, determined to celebrate his spirit, to keep his memory alive, and to ensure that the world remembers not just how he died but how he lived. In the end, Janelle Brown's account of her son's last hours is not just a heartbreaking confession. It is a plea for compassion, understanding, and awareness. It is the story of a mother's love, unending and unbreakable, even in the face of unimaginable loss. For years, the Brown family of sister wives has captured the public's attention with its complex dynamics, unique challenges, and deeply personal stories. Among the central figures of the series, Janelle Brown has often stood out as a strong, independent, and resilient woman who carved her own path even within the unconventional framework of polygamy. When she announced her separation from Kody Brown, many fans applauded her courage, praising her for prioritizing her own happiness after years of marital struggles. But in a surprising turn of events, Janelle has recently made a bold confession. She is rethinking her decision and reconsidering her divorce from Kody. This revelation has left fans divided, intrigued, and eager to understand what could motivate Janelle to reopen the chapter she once firmly closed. To fully grasp the weight of her confession, it's important to revisit the history of Janelle's relationship with Kody and the circumstances that led to her initial decision to walk away. From the beginning, Janelle's role in the Brown family was distinctive. Unlike the more emotional bonds seen in Kody's relationships with Mary or Christine, Janelle's connection with Kody was often defined by practicality and partnership. She was known as the wife who balanced the family finances, ensured stability, and handled responsibilities with a clear and level-headed approach. While romance wasn't always at the forefront of her relationship with Kody, respect and cooperation formed the foundation. For years, this balance seemed to work, especially in the early stages of their plural marriage. However, over time, cracks began to show. Kody's growing attachment to Robin Brown, his fourth wife, altered the family dynamics significantly. Christine's exit from the marriage was a catalyst that shook the entire household, and tensions only grew worse in the seasons that followed. Janelle, once seen as the steady anchor, began to feel increasingly marginalized. Her independence, which had once been an asset, became a point of conflict with Kody, who often expressed frustration at her unwillingness to align with his expectations. COVID-19 pandemic further strained their relationship. Kody's strict rules, his distancing from certain family members, and his insistence on unity at the expense of individuality pushed Janelle to a breaking point. She voiced her frustrations openly, telling Kody that she could not abide by what she felt were controlling and unfair demands. It was during this period that viewers began to see Janelle more vocal, more assertive, and more willing to challenge Kody in ways she previously avoided. Her eventual decision to separate seemed like a natural progression of these conflicts. Fans celebrated Janelle's newfound independence, admiring her ability to prioritize her own needs after decades of compromise. She began focusing on her career, her health, and her relationships with her children, embodying a sense of freedom that resonated deeply with viewers who had long watched her play the role of peacemaker. But now, Janelle's confession that she is reconsidering her divorce introduces a surprising twist. According to her, the decision is not rooted in weakness or indecision, but in reflection. She admits that while her separation has brought her peace in many ways, it has also raised questions about closure, legacy, and the true nature of her bond with Kody. Janelle has always been pragmatic, and her reconsideration reflects that pragmatism. She explains that marriage is not always about passion or perfection. It is often about shared history, mutual respect, and the family they've built together. In her own words, Janelle reveals that despite the pain and disappointment, she cannot ignore the decades of life shared with Kody. She acknowledges the children they raised, the challenges they overcame, and the ways in which their lives are still intertwined. She describes her reconsideration not as a desire to return to the way things were, but as an openness to redefine what partnership might look like moving forward. For her, divorce is not simply the end of a marriage, it is that reverberates through the entire family. This bold confession has sparked passionate discussions among fans. Some argue that Janelle is too strong and independent to ever find true happiness in reconnecting with Kody, especially given his history of favoritism and strained relationships with his other wives. Others, however, see her reconsideration as a testament to her wisdom and maturity. Rather than acting out of bitterness or resentment, Janelle is willing to approach her past with compassion, weighing both the good and the bad before finalizing such a life-altering decision. Critics have also pointed out that Kody himself has not always shown the same level of commitment or reflection when it comes to his wives. His open prioritization of Robin has often left Mary, Christine, and Janelle feeling neglected. For many viewers, the question isn't whether Janelle can forgive or reconsider, but whether Kody is capable of truly valuing her in the way she deserves. Without genuine change on his part, they argue, any reconciliation would be doomed to repeat the same cycle of hurt and disappointment. Janelle, however, seems to understand this reality. In her confession, she makes it clear that reconsidering her divorce does not mean ignoring the problems that led her to separate in the first place. Instead, it means deciding whether those problems can be addressed in a way that allows for growth and healing. She emphasizes the importance of open communication, respect, and acknowledgement of past mistakes. In her view, reconciliation is only possible if both partners are willing to put in the effort. The boldness of Janelle's confession lies not only in her willingness to entertain the possibility of reconciliation, but also in her courage to be honest about the complexities of marriage. In a world where divorce is often portrayed as a clean break, Janelle reminds us that real relationships rarely fit into such simple categories. Love, respect, history, and family obligations all blur the lines between endings and new beginnings. Whether Janelle ultimately decides to reconcile with Kody or finalize her divorce, her confession highlights an important truth. She is not afraid to make her decisions based on her own values and reflections rather than public opinion. She has shown time and again that she is her own person, unafraid to take the path that feels right for her, even if it defies expectations. For now, fans of Sister Wives are left waiting to see how this chapter unfolds. Will Janelle and Kody find a way to redefine their marriage, or will her reconsideration simply be a moment of reflection before moving forward independently? No matter the outcome, Janelle's bold confession proves once again why she remains one of the most compelling figures in the Brown family's ongoing story.